as security checkpoints. In Europe, state-sanctioned and private initiatives are testing this technology in multiple locations, from train stations to online classes. And in the US, private companies are investing millions to secure government contracts, which could make machine learning and image recognition a regular part of police work. Law professor Andrew Guthrie Ferguson is a leading expert
the most important part of this movie.
He spoke to us about the ramifications that these technologies could present. When you look at China's system of facial recognition and video surveillance, what do you see?
I see the future, and it scares me. If you have the capability to identify people and patterns, and you can show association about where you go and why you're going there, it really will change the relationship between citizens and their governments.
In China, the government has heavily invested in these companies developing facial recognition technology. In the US, it's still more in the private sector. Can you explain the difference?
So much of the story of big data policing has been small startup companies, or even sometimes the big tech companies, that are pushing police to use new technologies. One of the
I love you all, man. This is what's going on.
Who owns this data?
That's right.
Police body cams, right? Right now, there is sort of an arms race of people trying to sell police body cameras to policing all across America. All of that data from all of those officers is actually really valuable for other non-law enforcement purposes. You're really capturing patterns of society. And if the private companies can use that data for other things, even sell it for other reasons, they're going to want to profit it. Part of the reason why we have seen this move toward big data policing is because it sounds like an objective move to sort of turn the page from some of the racial tension we've seen after Ferguson and after Baltimore and after Staten Island to something that sounds more objective. Don't worry, this is data-driven. The problem is the data comes from us. And if you're not cautious about how you're collecting that information and then using it, you're just going to reify the same biases.
So how slippery is the slope we're standing on? How quickly could this be implemented here?
The technology you see in China exists. It's working, and it can do the same thing here.
Exactly.
Right now,
here in Canada too.
Our sort of regulatory, legislative action just isn't there. We don't have protections to say it couldn't happen.
Meaning no laws for
Young
this.
people growing up in America today
are used
pretty
to this.
used to being surveilled by their phones and their Facebooks and their Snapchats and the rest. We might have different constitutional protections, but it's still unsettled. And it's an open question about how we react. And I hope we start asking those questions to react now.
10 points. Check that out, the whole interview, but I'm putting just to the point.